Welcome to the Startup Support Surgery podcast, where we light the entrepreneurial spark in medics and healthcare professionals. Join me, Dr. Jo Watkins, GP, business coach and co-founder of The How People, on a journey to discover where your medical know-how meets the business world. This will help you find some clarity on how to balance work, passions and family so that you can gain more freedom and control over your life, but also continue to help people, which is actually why most of us went into medicine to start with. Embarking on this entrepreneurial adventure is not easy. It is a roller coaster of emotions, but it's hugely rewarding and exciting in the process. Drawing on my 20 years of blending medicine and business as a GP, I am here to share experiences, insights and lessons. Expect lively chats, expert interviews and real-life stories from medics who have taken their own path. Let's break free from traditional healthcare norms and explore more innovative ways of making a real difference to people's health and well-being, along with paving the way for a brighter future for us as healthcare professionals. Oh, don't miss my free PDF called From Stethoscope to Startup, which is an 11-page guide in the show notes full of practical help and advice. This is your roadmap to kickstarting your journey with us. Enjoy the show. Today on the podcast, I am joined by the lovely Dr. Rani Bora. Rani is a consultant psychiatrist, a transformational coach, and the co-founder of the Holistic Psychiatry Clinic. Rani brings to us today a refreshing and deeply human perspective to mental health, blending clinical psychiatry with holistic coaching-based approaches that focus on the whole person, not just the symptoms or the diagnoses. In this conversation, we explore what holistic psychiatry really means and how mental health can be reframed as mental wealth, and how people can move beyond survival into clarity, resilience, and purpose. We touch on how Rani and I reconnected over an amazing spontaneous speech that she gave that was picked up by somebody and sent on to Dave Hyatt at the Do Lectures, which meant that she came over to West Wales this summer to speak there, which was a really, really wonderful opportunity for her that she took with open arms. This is a super powerful conversation about choice, insight, and what true well-being can look like. And I'm really excited to share it with you today. And the random fact about Rani, which I'm sure will come up when we talk about it, is that her and her husband not only live together, they work together, they run a business together, and they've been together since they were at school, like super young at school. And I just think that's wonderful. So that's your random fact. How long have you been together, Annie?
Oh my goodness, like as partners since medical school, third year of medical school. But before that, he has been my best buddy for a long, long time.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you literally spend every minute of the day together, probably now you're working and living together.
Well, he works away 3 days a week. And I think it's good in a way because then you're like, oh, when is he coming back?
Oh, you miss him.
I do.
Lovely. Well, we haven't had a proper chat, just me and you. We have been on a Zoom call together. I seem to remember where I was. So you obviously made an impression. I was on the top of a mountain in a ski hut, and we were on a call with a couple of other doctors, and we spoke then. And then I kind of followed you a little bit, and something happened this summer that I just was like, I've got to get on a call with you and talk to you. So tell everybody, let's go from the beginning, who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into it.
Right. So I have many roles as a human being, and my main role is a holistic psychiatrist, and I'm also a coach, and I have written a book, self-published book, but it's incredible, I would say. And I'm a wife, partner, all these different roles. I have got two lovely daughters. In fact, I can go on and on about but can I say, Joe, I know this is I love what you said about let's just go with the flow and what happens. But I always knew my daughter, my eldest daughter, 20-year-old, she would be one of my greatest teachers. Because at one point she was just like me, very focused, very determined, and I have Indian origin. So I was like, oh, this is what we do in Indian culture. And obviously, I'm living in the UK, but I struggle with some of her ways of being and so on. And we had frictions until like 2 years ago. Something shifted. She has been doing her own on journey, like inner journey. This morning we were hugging and she was telling me about how deeply she sees meditation. She has been journaling, she has been doing all her inner work. And she's saying, I'm so blessed that I have grown up, around people who are into personal development. She was talking about me and my husband. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, I am learning so much from her because she is like, I can't believe how she can be so organized. She has been inspiring me in the gym. She has been inspiring me with how she has shifted her eating habits, her like discipline around her studies. She's in uni, final year of uni. Like, oh, so have become a student of my daughter. So I just wanted to say, like, when you say, who are you? I said, there's so many roles, but this mother-daughter relationship, I was thinking on the sofa, I was thinking, if we had recorded this chat, this informal chat, people would have been moved like, oh my goodness, this is life. This is the reality of like how we shift and, become a better version of ourselves. So I just wanted to put that out there as well, Joe.
Well, that is just beautiful. And she's final year of university. So she's what, 2021?
She's 20.
Okay. And your relationship has shifted with her in the last couple of years. I think, I have a 18-year-old about to go to university. A lot of my listeners have teenagers. That transition from those under 10 ages into that teenage life, I found that quite hard, that quite difficult. And that's really beautiful to hear how your relationships developed since university, because we often see that as kind of the end point, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is beautiful.
I know. It's like she's shifted, and I have noticed that because I have also shifted,
Yeah.
and I think it makes
Yeah.
two people, and we can really say that our relationship is so beautiful
Oh.
at the moment, and all of us, the whole family. But anyway, there is so much hope. That's what I'm saying. That even though we always know that our children never stop being our children, but for a children to become a teacher, a child to become a teacher, like this is what I see her as.
Yeah.
Like she's teaching me
Yeah.
something that I need to see for myself.
Yeah, wonderful. Fabulous. Well, how much of this, your own path from NHS psychiatry roles into what you're doing now, how much of that is a journey of personal development, not just business? It's a huge change, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um, how have you managed that along the way?
Yeah. Wow. All of it. Like the person talking to you, Joe, would not have been the same person without her personal development journey. So it's fascinating. I came to the UK in 2001, very insecure. Of course, I was a doctor, a junior doctor at that time. I left my psychiatry training in India to just my specialist training in psychiatry in India to got married to Suraj, who came here a year ago, and I was very insecure, but it was so easy, right? Like, oh, you're a doctor, but I was very, very insecure. So 2002, we started with Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins, like, unleash the power within. And I was like, what the hell is this? But I got fascinated by this. And I said, okay, let me look into self help. And I started reading self help books and Louis Hay and all that kind of thing. And then it occurred to me, like, hey, why don't I train to be a life coach? This was back in 2007. At that time, coaching was not hard in NHS. Now, like, you hear many doctors are coaches, and like it's well known, right? Health coaches and everything. But back then, I guess it was only like the top managers and the CEOs would have some coaching experience. And I did that back then, not because I was thinking this is going to my career, but it's like I want to like see what tools are out there so that I can take it to psychiatry to help my patients. And I struggle with that. I thought there were two different worlds. I thought, oh, this is the world of personal development, and this is for normal people, and this is the world of psychiatry, and this is not going to work. And this is how I started my journey. And things have shifted because I have started to see deeper and deeper into no, all human beings are exactly the same, accept that they might be more lost. Some people might be more lost than others. Some people might have more trauma than others. And so it got I got fascinated is what makes us common, what is common among all human beings. And I think because of my own evolution, I have been able to practice psychiatry in a very different way than I have been trained in my whole years of training.
Mm. And you continue to practice in that way now, in this different, more personal way between you and your husband and your own clients. Are you working in the NHS still or not?
No, no, I left about I think more than 18 years ago, almost coming to 2 years.
Yeah,
Because until then, I did a year of locum after leaving my substantive post, and the reason why I took that step was, there was this it at some point that really, like, when we really put our hands on our heart and say, "Is this really me?
yeah,
Am I selling my soul in a way?" Just to get some money in a paycheck at the end of the month or something. And some of the things I knew I was making an impact on some of my patients, but it was very incongruent to my journey, where I was and how I wanted to serve. And so it really made sense without any plans. I would say, don't do that. Don't go cold turkey, have a plan. But it was like my husband said, you can leave your job. Like, we were driving back from a well-being conference in Devon where I was speaking, and I was saying, why am I doing this? Because I was not even allowed to take one day, like, work for long days, to do what I wanted to do. And I said, why am I doing this? And he said, you can leave a job. And it was like, until then, I really didn't think so. So that's the answer. I know sometimes I go long and winded, like, yeah, but I felt there was something moving through me. It was not like I have a plan. I'm going to do the NHS. I'm going to do this. Of course, people can have plans, but there was something else moving through me to say, Rani, it's your time. It's your time.
yeah.
Don't settle for any less than who you are and how you want to show up. And I've been following that.
Ever since.
Yeah. And even before, but I think it came very strongly, Joe, then.
Okay. Okay, amazing. I've got so much I want to ask you about. The first thing I want to start with is that you you write about and you talk about mental wealth rather than mental health. Can you tell me a little bit about what you mean by that to my audience is a mixture of practicing doctors or people that have moved into business, and I think more and more I'm seeing people come out from either psychiatry roles or mental health roles, seeing the movement in wellness. And I just love this term mental wealth. So what does it mean?
I just wanted to come up with a term that I use, where I am saying that this is what I mean, and there is no noise there. There's no contamination there, so to speak. So I would like to talk about three paradigms that I see in mental health today. So, in the field of when we say mental health, so one is the traditional mental health paradigm, where the main question we ask people is, what's wrong with you? Okay, what's wrong with you? And we are trying to fix that. And I'm not saying it's bad or wrong. I'm just saying this is what it is. Like, and there's a role for that. And I know that when we ask those questions, at least in the acute setting, we might be able to solve something for people. But there's still a lot of limitation in my view. When we say, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? We're always like focusing on what's wrong. Let's fix it. And a higher paradigm to that is an upgraded version, is the trauma informed paradigm, which is like, no, no, what if there's nothing wrong with this person? What if something happened to them? So we are being more trauma informed. So I do think it's an upgraded version. Like when you say, what happened to you? Tell us a story, because then it's like a compassionate and really good. But I also find that there are some limitations to that, because then people think, oh, because this happened to me back then, this is why I'm stuck. This is my possibility. There's a limit to what possible for me. And I think that's so not true. That's so not true. You are unlimited, unlimited potential. So the mental wealth paradigm that I say is the question is, what's already within you? So yes, things could have happened, and you behave the way you behave. You have some symptoms, and things happen to you. But what's already within you? And I'm obviously talking about spirituality. So I feel that in mental health, when we talk about mental health, we are putting in mental illness, and we are putting in mental wellness practices, and we are talking about stress and overwhelm to schizophrenia or something like that. It's all in a mix, and people are just talking about, oh, we have more mental health problems, or you have to look after your mental health. So I find that there's a lot of noise, and people are saying, what exactly is mental health? So I just wanted to say, yeah, that's on the surface. There are lots of stuff as we need to look at as human beings. But to me, if I were to practice psychiatry and coaching just from a let's just fix your symptoms, it's like, okay, we are giving them a tool, a quick fix, but it's not sustainable. For me, it's like preventative and sustainable well-being. It's like what's already within you. It's like it allows people to just like, oh,
Mm,
I haven't even thought about it.
mm.
Spirituality, what does it mean? I'm not religious, people might say. And I used to get scared of, talking about spirituality because I thought people will think, oh, Rani Bora is religious and this is religion. I'm not religious. I was never religious, but I've always felt that there was something deeper. There's something else going on that I'm connected to. And most people talk about it, like talk about nature, talk about how well-being, our well-being, our mental health flourishes when we are in nature. And I said, nature reminds us that nature does not wear any disguise. Actually, nature reminds us of our spirituality, of a deeper connection with the universe.
Mm.
So this is why, this is how I practice, and I find that that is what people are looking for, and especially in psychiatry, Joe, people have existential crisis. You know, any like when I see people in psychosis or any struggles, they are really suffering, and they are what I would call existential crisis of some kind. And we can give them medications, and we can give them CBT, and that might give temporary relief. But it's also like, what is really going to nourish our soul, what do we really want to listen to? And that's where, to me, spirituality and mental wealth comes in.
And I noticed recently you've been finding other people out there, other doctors talking about this, because this is a conversation I've had with a couple of people. Emma Presson, who I think you've connected with,
Yeah.
who's a wonderful doctor up in Bala, and she talked about sort of coming out as a spiritual doctor was felt like
Yeah.
it was one of the hardest things she's ever done. Have you kind of have you found that you've been on your own in this journey, or have you, are you sort of pioneering this within psychiatry, or do you think there is a lot of people that understand this, or do you think how is this being brought into our work as clinicians?
Oh, that's such a beautiful question. I'm sure that people coming from that place, but they might not be so vocal, they might not be articulating, and they might not be showing up on social media because of fear of GMC and what people think. And I was there like myself, like sitting on the fence, like, oh, what will people think? I see this so like a part of being human. I see that when we say human being, we focus a lot on human and say, oh, I'm just human, I'm just human, I'm just human, and we say, yeah, but what about the being aspect? To me, being is a spiritual. When we explore being, and obviously, I mean, they say, "Oh, I'm being silly now." So we use being in the context, but being is also like there is a deeper element to being. It reminds me of isness that people talk about, or presence, or you can even put it as love. When people talk about unconditional love, and we don't use those kind of things in clinical language, clinical terms, because we like, oh, as clinicians, we should not be talking about love. We don't need to talk about love but we could bring the energy of that. And I have met many, many doctors and many, many healthcare professionals that I didn't know exist. And I said, oh my God, you are there? And I can do lectures. I met a camp psychiatrist. After my keynote speech, she came to me. She was shaking. She said, Rani, I am a camp psychiatrist. I said, oh my goodness. And then we connected, and she is amazing. So we are all doing our own bit, Joe. And like now I'm seeing more and more since coming out of the NHS, I'm seeing that there's so many more who have not articulated that because they were also scared like me. And now they're saying, actually, I'm not alone. And then you feel more inspired to share more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love now that when I'm in my GP surgery, I am thinking about other professionals that are out there sharing on Instagram stories, sharing on LinkedIn. Maybe they've got free lead magnets or PDFs or ebooks or YouTube channels, and actually being able to signpost patients to trusted medical practitioners doing amazing things in a different arena that isn't medication. We're going to come back to this because I love that this is what part of your talk. But, there are other ways. I saw a young man yesterday who is 27 and he's on antidepressants, and he's been signed off sick for a couple of years, and nobody's ever stopped to look any deeper than signing that med 3, keeping on the repeat prescription. And he came in yesterday and he said, I didn't want a phone conversation because I wanted to sit down and talk to somebody. And I knew that was my opportunity to make a difference and try and change his trajectory, because he was asking for help and he doesn't believe that he can go. He very much feels in this trauma-informed space where something's difficult's happened to him and he doesn't see that there's any future for him. And it was wonderful to be able to signpost him to things that weren't medication. And I actually sent him off and I asked him to come back in a month's time, and having done three things, like walking someone else's dog, volunteering somewhere, showing up in the soup kitchen and helping out for an evening, doing one thing. And that brings me a little bit onto this keynote speech that you gave at the Do Lectures, which is what made me say, we've got to chat. So the Do Lectures is an organization out in West Wales. You can tell us a bit more about, I have followed them for years. I've been going out to that part of Wales since Dave and Claire Hyatt had Howie's, their first clothes shop out there. And it's an amazing organization, but you had the opportunity to stand on the main stage there in the summer and give your talk. How did that come about?
Oh my goodness. I know, thank you so much, because this is again what I would call synchrodestiny. I did not know anything about Do Lectures at all until only like 3 months before the Do Lectures that I spoke to. I have been part of this coaching school for coaches called AJC Coaching Career School. This was my final time. I've been 3 times. So this was back in March this year, 2025. And we were watching a Wayne Dyer very short video about kindness, and he was talking about how kindness is very is so potent, and he was talking about antidepressants, and he said it the way he said it, and I heard something else, because I'm very fascinated about my special interest in psychiatry is deprescribing people of psychotropic medication safely, because now the research is that it really people really struggles if they've been taking it more than a year or so. So anyway, so I immediately started this iPad. I love my iPad. I started writing down what came to me, and I love to play with distinctions. So I started to play, AD means antidepressant, AD means act of kindness. So I just did a boom, 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 made a distinction about what antidepressants are, what some of the challenges with antidepressants, whereas there's no challenge with act of kindness. And after we watched that, and Ankush, the lead in this, said, "Hey, anyone has any comments?" And I was like, and I said, "Can I come in front to share?" So, and it was all recorded. And then I went in the front, and then I shared from the heart what I just saw in the small clip. And sitting there was another coach, amazing coach called Sam. Now, he happened to know David Hyatt. And he said, after the talk, he said, "Rani, I was so inspired." And everyone was like, I got a standing ovation and everything from it, because it was like impromptu speech. They knew my passion. So anyway, after that, he said, "Rani, once this clip is ready, send it to me. I would love to send it to David, who does the Do Lectures." So that's how I ended up speaking because he said, "I loved what you said about kindness. Can you come on the stage?" And I was like, "What is this Do Lectures?" So there you go. So it's what synchrodestiny is, and that's where I met again that Chem psychiatrist and many amazing people, and I think, wow. Again, my friend Sam's, my colleagues' act of kindness brought me to do lectures. And then I just posted on Facebook, anyone wants to watch the clip. And then he said, Rani, I would love to watch the clip. And your act of kindness brought me straight to here. And we haven't even spoken before, Joe.
I know, I love it. So that's, I mean, it was brilliant. And the little clip on YouTube is just magical because, like you say, you were beavering away, creating something completely organic on the spot, something that had been triggered by what you were watching. And then when somebody said, would anyone like to share? Like maybe Rani of medical student days would have probably just sat there. I mean, I'm not saying I would have done. I would have shut my book and thought, oh, I'll read about that when I get home. I would never have run to the front of the class waving my arms around in the air. And that is taking the opportunity, right? And that's what you did. Would you say that a previous you might not have done that?
Oh, 100%. Like the insecure Rani, she wouldn't even like 3 years before. I might say, yeah, it's nice, it's nice. It's like, but something came through me when you talk about opportunity. Like I could not like hush it, like hush, hush, hush. Who are you to speak? No, forget all of those like noise. Like I just spoke. It's just like my hands went up. So yeah, what when you talk about opportunity, what I've come to see, Joe, is opportunities are constantly knocking on our door. We might not just say, yeah, 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 forget about it, forget about it. Who am I? Who am I to do this? I'm seeing that more and more. That the doors are constantly opening and shutting, but we are, because it's in front of us, they are opening. The doors behind us are shutty, but what we mostly do is like we keep looking at the past and say, why is this door closed? Rather than saying this door has opened, let's walk through this.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you certainly walked through that door and you got that, that clip was sent off and Dave Hyatt signed you up and you went to talk about this distinction between, or this differentiation between antidepressants and acts of kindness and how we should be using acts of kindness instead of antidepressants. Can you just help that for the many doctors that are out there? And I know that you listening to that little clip has had an impact on the way that I operated and spoke to that young man yesterday. I'm not sure I would have done that had I not listened to your clip. So there is a possible knock-on effect here that I think would be really powerful for you to just share that on the podcast.
Well, as a possibility, Joe, in your resources, maybe we just put a link to that
Yeah.
short YouTube video. I'll send it to you. I think you have got it, but I'll send it to you. All I would say is that people are looking for help, and because want to help, sometimes we are trying to rush to help, and we think, oh, but I have a pen and I have a prescription and I am a prescriber, I can prescribe something. So we are all coming from that, like, let me do something straight away to help you with your suffering, to help you deal with the suffering. Have you heard the quote, like, if you give a man a fish, you feed him once, but if you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. To me, antidepressants is like it's needed, from time to time, and it like some, and we all know that there are some cases that we might give it, but again, like it might be like, okay, let me take the pain away from you. That might be the what we are saying. Let me take the pain away from you. All you have to do is take the antidepressant, and that's it. For example, now I know that there are, like, I am hot on informed consent. Before I prescribe any antidepressants, which I haven't prescribed for a long time, I would really make sure that you really understand all the side effects and everything, including that sexual dysfunction and everything, which we don't talk about, but also, like, chances are that if you continue it for longer than 6 months, you might have problems coming off the medication. That kind of thing is hotly informed consent, but I could still give it, right? Because it's about what the person wants, and their autonomy, what ethically they want. But if we just say, yeah, antidepressants go off, and you just like go into their life, they think that, oh, that's my clutch. That anytime something happens, I'll pop a pill. And that's the danger of it. But what you did there, it's so beautiful, Joe. And when you said do this instead, you gave him a lifestyle prescription in a way, right? In a way, like, and it's more like the connection pillar of the lifestyle medicine, that you have a connection and do something and make a contribution. So and that in a way, you taught him how to fish, like for your well-being. This is, all it might seem like a small gesture, but coming from a doctor is huge. But why would a doctor ask me to do that? Then they might take it seriously. So I think it's very important that with the messaging, because we know, we talk about chronic health conditions and non-communicable diseases, how it's on the rise, not just for physical health, I would say even for mental health. More people are struggling with stress and overwhelm and anxiety and depression. And if they think something's wrong with me, I have to fix it just with the pills. They've got it wrong. I think it's like, looking at even an act of kindness from their part, because or to do towards themselves. Sometimes we might have to take the pill of act of kindness to ourselves. Most important, I think, when we start doing that, and we know that our being a certain way is making an impact, even a small difference, to our pet, to the stranger we smiled at. They just stack up, Joe. They are the natural antidepressants. And basically, this is what the video is about. And I talked about something else out there in the Joe lectures, but this small clip was part of my talk.
And we will be linking that below for sure. So just to wrap up, we've talked about kindness in a medical sense. And obviously you're a medic, you're now a businesswoman, a keynote speaker, a visionary. You are doing some fantastic things out there. How important is kindness as we start off in business and on that entrepreneurial path that's very different to what we've learned in medical school?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's one of the it's not a secret in at all. The businesses which are really doing well, they definitely have the kindness everywhere, right? And that the whole team is flourishing. They won't say it's a toxic culture, because it's the kindness, the energy of kindness everywhere. One of the thing I'm seeing more and more is like, when we serve people rather than try to please people, we are always going to come from a place of kindness, or we can choose to come from a place of kindness. But the most important thing is, we can never overdose. That's what one of the things I said, like, you can never overdose with kindness. And when we are kind to ourselves, and we use kind words to, like, say, hey, that was okay. I forgive myself. I know I judge myself, and I forgive myself for judging myself that I'm stupid. But it was just a random thought. I know I'm not stupid. The more we are taking, like, double, triple, massive doses of kindness for ourselves, it oozes out. It oozes out to a business. It oozes out to a child, to our pet. And then that you serve people more powerfully when you are armed with that spirit of kindness, that energy of kindness. So 100%, I think, I love the kindness, and this is something that's coming more to me, more and more to me, and I'm seeing that in you as well, Joe.
Oh, well, I really appreciate it. I know you've got a client coming, and a dog at the door, and not a dog at the door, someone at the door and the dog. And so I think we'll wrap things up. But I have absolutely loved speaking to you. I'm sure we can do another one of these in 6 months' time. But please look out for Rani. I'll link everything up in the show notes below of how people find you. And I think that whole concept, you can't overdose on kindness. Just get out there. Take the opportunity, wave your hands in the air if you've got to say something. You never know what will happen. And thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
You are very welcome. And take this with you, Gio. This is how I feel about you. And yeah, you are amazing. Lots of love.
Oh, thank you. Take care. I hope this episode has sparked some new ideas or challenged your thinking. Transitioning from medicine to business is not easy. It's about adapting our skills while embracing the unknowns of entrepreneurship. It can be nerve-wracking, but remember, you are not alone on this journey. Please feel free to reach out to me via direct message on LinkedIn or Instagram, or just shoot me an email at joe@bendylegs.com. for support. And don't forget to grab the free PDF from the show notes, From Stethoscope to Startup, which is your go-to guide and resource for diving into entrepreneurship. Many thanks for tuning in. I will see you next time. Thanks for spending your precious time with me.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.